What? Bang!
Whoa! Wrestling podcast. Just when they think they got the answers, I change the question.
Rep screwed rep.
Yeah!
Woo!
Who are you to doubt El Dandy? Because this guy's a serious professional.
Did he do it? Unbelievable!
Too hot to handle and too cold to hold. And I am Macho King Savage.
Shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty! I said WWE stands for! It's me, Austin! I will never retire!
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey, yo, Fro Wrestling Podcast listeners. Welcome to the show where we don't sing it, we bring it. Help us out and click subscribe to show your support. Are you sick and tired of dropping $60 to $100 for the latest and greatest wrestling game? Stop immediately. Go to Wrestler Unstoppable, available exclusively through Facebook. Create a wrestler, sign contracts, get into storylines, headline PLEs, even build your own corporation from the ground up, all included in Wrestler Unstoppable, available now to all Facebook users, totally free. If you want to become a member of the Pro Wrestling Podcast family, you want your name in the shoutouts like my good buddy John down in Texas, check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/Pro Wrestling Podcast. Sign up today. Don't forget we have loyalty rewards. If you are a $15 a month contributor, you get to co-host a show with myself. If you are a $7.50 a month contributor, you get entered into a drawing to also co-host a show with me. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Pro Wrestling Podcast. If you've got comments, questions, something you want us to talk about in a future episode, call me. Let me know. Pro Wrestling Sound Off line 267-642-1160, and we will get to those comments, questions, whatever it is, in a future episode. Tonight, a lot to cover. We're going to get into all of it, and hopefully not take up all of your evening in the process. Let's get started with some of the simple news of the day. The big news of the week, I think, more so than the SummerSlam results and whatnot. All of that stuff is fantastic, but what I think is even more interesting is the conversation around WWE and their new deal that they have made with ESPN. Many people very frustrated about this. Now, there's mixed conversation about this. Some people are of the opinion that everybody in the world pretty much is going to be paying $30 a month to have WWE premium live events. There's the other report out that if you've got cable of some sort, that you will not be paying for. You'll be streaming through ESPN, doing a validation process through, say, DirecTV or whatever you might have, Verizon or whatnot. Then there's another report that comes out and says that it's going to be very selective. Not all cable providers will be included in the deal, which would be very problematic. And I think what is the most shocking thing is if you are a person who is from somewhere outside of the United States, or if you are somebody inside the United States using a VPN, you can use Peacock ongoing, WWE Network in some places still going, but here in the United States, they just want you to pay 9,000 different ways to get every show that they possibly offer. I'm of the opinion, me personally, I'm a DirecTV user, not trying to plug DirecTV or anything like that, but they've been good to me over the years. So hopefully I get it for free. And I've had the thing where, like, when I want to see the episodes of the biography and whatnot from A&E, I can log in using my DirecTV login. I can see those shows for free on their website and stream those. I'm hoping this will be similar, but I also hope that this is extended to everybody who has traditional cable. I think that's part of the motivation behind this, is with all the streaming services out there, ESPN is making a play to give you a reason to retain your regular broadcast television service, because there's still huge media rights deals to be made from that. Now, a lot of people were frustrated saying, how come ESPN was able to do this? Peacock didn't try to re-up and whatnot. Apparently, Peacock did try to re-up. They made an offer of $275 million per year to get the rights to retain WWE programming. And apparently that wasn't good enough for WWE. And so WWE's deal with ESPN is $350 million a year, or $325 million a year. It's a $50 million difference. It's a 5-year deal. You're talking about $1.6 billion, big bucks there. And then when you really break it down, they're getting the PLEs. They're not bringing in all the content. The content, if you've been noticing on YouTube, there is a slow migration of classic WWE programming to the WWE Vault channel on YouTube. So there is speculation out there that that would be the new home of all of their video library, which, let's be honest, I actually like what Peacock has. I don't like the search function, but I do like what Peacock has. But even the Peacock app doesn't have everything. These guys literally own every library that is of any importance with the exception of Ring of Honor and AEW, and they could probably license the TNA one if they really tried it with that partnership. Now that they own AAA, well, I guess you could say they don't have a CMLL either. I think Tony Khan at this point better start making some deals with New Japan and CMLL to have their own streaming platform to kind of try to counter all this. But at the end of the day, all that other programming, the original content, the old Coliseum video stuff, the regional wrestling promotions all throughout the country that they've purchased, Mid-South, AWA, World Class, all that kind of stuff, Continental, those are going to be housed probably on YouTube because nobody's bid for that yet. And the NXT Premium Live events have not been included in this ESPN deal exclusively. And there was also conversation about some of the PLEs will be put out live on ESPN. So what is it really? Is it going to be only the big ones? Are we talking about like the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, maybe Money in the Bank? Are the smaller PLEs, like the day one kind of stuff, are they going to go to a traditional television broadcast on ESPN? We'll have to wait and see. Still a lot to work out here, but it is very interesting. I know there are a ton of people upset about paying $30 a month. And there's other people who argue, like, wait, back in the day, you would pay $30, $45, then $50, then $60, then $70, then $80, and $100 for pay-per-views back in the day. And we've kind of been spoiled for the last several years, ever since the WWE Network came out, the $9.99 a month, that we haven't been paying for pay-per-views anymore. They're no longer pay-per-views anymore. They're now premium live events, and we were getting all those included in whatever streaming service that was relevant at the time. This is almost going to a pay-per-view model again. In a lot of ways, for a lot of people, you're spending $30 a month, and the $30, most people who are going to be grabbing a hold of this are not the ones who are looking to increase their ESPN consumption. They just want to get the PLEs. I, for one, just being honest, if it works for DirecTV, great. I'll watch your PLEs. If it falls off the radar and suddenly they don't give it to DirecTV, I'm out. I'm not dropping $30 a month to watch your PLEs. I'll watch the highlight shows when the show's over, and I'll read the spoilers if I have to. But I'm not gonna be paying $30 a month for WWE program when a lot of times it's not a program that really thrills me. Many times it is, but it's not always that situation. So, again, we'll have to wait and see. Now, the other conversations of the week have all centered primarily on SummerSlam fallout. Obviously, the return of Brock Lesnar. It even bled into SmackDown. SmackDown, we opened the show this week with John Cena calling out Brock Lesnar, which, of course, Lesnar did not come out. I do love the fact that WWE jumped right into a... Oh, gosh, let me think how to say this. Brock Lesnar's never been the guy to show up on every week's television, where Logan Paul will pretty much show up whenever you want him. And as much as people may love or hate Logan Paul, and you're free to feel however you want, I am gaining immense respect for Logan Paul because of, one, the work ethic he's displaying, the quality of his matches, the high spots he's willing to put on, the stuff he's willing to risk and do with his body. And I get it. There are a lot of heinous things that took place early in his career, a lot of stupid scams with money and all that kind of stuff. And we all know about the Forrest issue when he was overseas. I get it. I understand holding that for the guy. But putting all things in perspective, there comes a time when the guy's trying to give back and do better. And I'm hoping that he continues to do that. And at some point, he does become the character, the man. You know, we talked recently about Hulk Hogan's passing and how different the character from the human being was. I'm hoping that the human being of Logan Paul has matured enough that fans will eventually get behind him, maybe even turn him babyface at some point. But I love going into SmackDown, seeing him get mixed up with John Cena. I love that coming out, really trying to solidify the full Cena babyface turn. He's already teaming up with Cody Rhodes to take on Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. I thought that was solid. I had no problem with any of it. I can't wait to see all of it at Clash at the Castle. I think it's going to be fantastic. That show is going to be stacked. Let's look at the rest of what's happened at SmackDown real quick. JC Mateo and Tala Tonga taking on the Motor City Machine Guns. Hate this for the Machine Guns because I think they belong in the championship picture. I think they should have held the belts longer, but gotta say, I don't have a problem seeing Mateo and Tonga going out there and challenging for the Tag Team Championship. Here's the only problem I have. I would have loved to have seen Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa win those belts at some point and to face off against the Usos for the Tag Team Championship. We've never gotten the chance to see that. And with Tama Tonga being out for such an extended period of time, who knows if we ever will. And Tonga Loa has his own timing issues and whatnot, so who knows when we'll ever see that. But the match here was actually pretty solid, and the whole MFT clan is just, it's over like Rover right now. It's good stuff. Solo Sikoa got involved in this situation. It was obvious that there was going to be something going on with him, and it led to the match with Sami Zayn. I think a lot of people were surprised to see Sami Zayn pick up a win so cleanly. You know, the quick roll-up, but it's still a clean win, coming off of Sikoa beating Jacob Fatu in the cage. What I didn't like, not that much, but what I didn't like is, where was Jacob Fatu? You lose a cage match. If he was laid out in the cage, it makes sense, but he wasn't. He beat the living snot out of the rest of the faction. So he left the pay-per-view relatively strong. He should have been at SmackDown, and he wasn't. So I don't understand that. I don't understand the booking. They went on to the Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss birthday presentation thing that Chelsea Green and her clique interrupted. I was fine with all of it. I just want to see Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, Alba Fire presented in a more prominent way as being legitimate competitors, legitimately having a chance to do something of importance in the tag team division. And why Chelsea has just given up her quest for the United States Women's Championship, I don't understand. I think she is such an underappreciated. And look, I watched Unreal, and I love that they emphasized her a little bit in that show. But emphasizing doesn't mean anything if you don't follow it up with pushing to go. Great, she got in a U.S. Championship run for a very short period of time, comparatively speaking, to many of these championship runs lately, and they've really done a whole lot of nothing with her ever since. I get it, maybe she's the comedic, take the clean pin every week girl, but I hate that for her because she is so much better than that. But it leads to a match, Charlotte Flair, Chelsea, Charlotte wins. I don't think any surprises took place there. And then we get into the John Cena, Cody Rhodes versus McIntyre, Logan Paul thing. This was fun. Shocked to see Cena in a match that fast after SummerSlam, but this was fun. It was a good match. Some good spots. There was a disqualification finish, which is great because it keeps everybody strong. The brawling after the fact made a lot of sense and really sets up Clash at the Castle to be just a fantastic pay-per-view. There's a lot going to be going on in that show, and I am looking forward to a lot of it. Speaking of Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul, also in the news this week, a lot of people confused over the Jelly Roll tag team match at SummerSlam. Apparently, Jelly Roll was the one who pitched the idea of him losing. Apparently, he was originally supposed to win, which is kind of what everybody expected because the celebrity, not that Logan Paul is not one, but he's obviously the more frequent performer. The one-off celebrity is usually the one who gets the win. It was actually his idea that he would be the one to take the pin and lose. What a quality human being for the wrestling business. Like, in all seriousness, the effort he put in to get ready for this show, everything else, this is great, and it's great to see how selfless he is in terms of his fandom for the sport, for wanting to get involved, and really wanting to be the one to put over the heel tag team, according to Fightful Select, that is. But the original plan apparently was for him to win his first ever contest with Randy Orton, but that was not the way they did it. And I love it. You love that he had some creative input into what was going on, and we'll have to see where that goes from there. But at this point, nothing but mad respect. I think he far exceeded any expectations anybody had. More WWE news. We're still waiting to figure out what the heck is going on with Karrion Kross and Scarlett. Everybody's been waiting to find out. The Wrestling Observer Radio has their conversation piece was they said that there was an offer that was made, that people internally confirmed that this is just how the WWE handles contracts now. But we don't know if the offer was accepted, if they're coming back. He did post online that he was hoping to still be on the Raw brand and whatnot, but they'd have to wait and see. He said that he doesn't believe anything he sees. He hasn't seen nobody's telling the truth about things. He put out a TikTok video, not the app TikTok, but a video with a times thing for TikTok, talking about his free agency coming up. So still a lot of confusion about what's going on with him, and hopefully they get this, squared away, because it's one of those things where at this point he is so over that I think it's really a bad idea to let them walk. I think he has done enough that he deserves an opportunity to really just, move forward with this. And let's face it, I think the last guy that got over to the level that he is independent of WWE's push was like Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona. And that's years ago. So great for him. I wish him nothing but the best. Him and Scarlett. I actually hope they let Scarlett do something physical if they did re-up. But we'll have to wait and see. Somebody who is still under contract, contrary to the popular belief, is Austin Theory. There was some confusing reports, some people claiming that he had been released by WWE. Not the case. According to Fightful Select, he is currently listed along with all the other talents in WWE that are currently injured, Ilya Dragunov, Zoe Stark, people like that he is still with the company. It's a legitimate injury, and that he will be back at some point. Obviously, he'll pick up where he left off and have a feud with Grayson Waller. Makes a lot of sense. And probably flip him babyface. Wonderful. I think this is the guy who only a short time ago was having great matches in a feud with Bobby Lashley, doing the pose off with him, and I thought he really had everything you needed to be a great star. And WWE, for whatever reason, maybe because he was a Vince guy and Vince went away, just dropped the ball on him. But hopefully they find something really meeting his talent level when he returns. Another tidbit for WWE fans, former WWE champion Dave Bautista is joining Amazon's Roadhouse sequel, which, if you didn't watch the first one, I don't mean the original from the 80s with Patrick Swayze, but the more recent Roadhouse. He's apparently appearing in this, and this is for me and people who are like me, he's also going to be playing the role of Kurgan in the Highlander remake. For those who don't know what Highlander is, it's the fantasy movie series, people walking around immortals with swords lopping off each other's head, trying to gain the other person's knowledge and experience and power. In the end, there can be only one. Kurgan was a huge character in the original film way back in the early 80s, and I'm really looking forward to that being released and seeing how he does playing the role of Kurgan. So great for him. Still pushing all the tickets in Hollywood. Would I have loved to have seen him stay in wrestling? Of course, but at his age now, and let's face it, he started relatively later in the game. I think this is great that he's able to find such a great opportunity in Hollywood and still be doing it for his fans. Got to touch on some of the, how do we say it, some of the less comfortable stuff of the week. Hulk Hogan in the news again, which is a shame to say when someone has recently passed. But Brooke Hogan confirming why her father refused to walk her down the aisle. He was just done with weddings. He didn't want anything to do with it. He said he had been in enough of them, which I think really bothered her. Again, she called into the Bubba the Love Sponge, the Bubba Army podcast. She said that he said, nope, I don't do weddings. I don't do funerals anymore. And she was like, you know what? Hey, Dad, even for me. And he goes, nope, you guys have fun. You got my blessing. But like, you can't get me to leave the beach, which is shocking to me. I really would have thought that he would have been more there for his daughter. And then he talked about never getting married again, but then he ended up getting married again. So very strange stuff there. The other bit this week, Eric Bischoff talking about how he was completely unaware of any reported leukemia battle Hogan may have been having, as is Brooke. Brooke thinks it's a complete work, that it's not true. Bischoff lending his suspicions that it may not be accurate out there. I mean, when you think about how many times Hulk Hogan had surgery, you would have thought somebody would have picked up on this stuff, but apparently not so much. Another former WWE superstar, Jake Hager, formerly Jack Swagger, has announced that he's retired from wrestling. He says, I'm getting out of wrestling. The quote here is, I could say I'm retired from it. I started a trucking company running routes through Tampa and Florida. I'm not driving, not me, he said. I got people driving. I'm excited. It's something to sink my teeth into. You know, it's hard work and it pays off. So, Jake Hager, for all the people who thought he was such a horrible person to put the World Heavyweight Championship on back in the day when he cashed in Money in the Bank over Chris Jericho, I'm glad to see he's doing something of substance post-wrestling. Wish him all the best, and it's great to know that he was able to parlay his wrestling success and the money he made from that into a very successful business, which is wonderful. I'm actually really confident that a lot of that money Tony Khan paid him in AEW probably helped fund all this. Speaking of AEW, let's jump into some AEW conversation. Tony Khan gave us an update this week on Jay White. Switchblade has been out for a significant period of time. He is unfortunately apparently going to be out for the foreseeable future. The quote from Tony Khan was, Jay White's one of the best wrestlers in the world. Unfortunately, he's going to be out a long time. This was on the My Mom's Basement with Robbie Fox. He said, I think Jay White's a great example of that. He's a player you figure into your plans. If some star like that in any sport gets injured, you're going to have to change your plans because guess what? He definitely is in your plans. But unfortunately, at this point, he is going to be out for the foreseeable future, which is a shame. I mean, it seems like every time he comes back or somebody in his group comes back, they get some momentum and then it's just out from under him, which is really a shame because he's a phenomenal star. It's one of those people who I thought WWE should have jumped on when he was a free agent from New Japan. They didn't. Tony Khan did, and it's almost like he's been snake bitten ever since. He's had a few decent programs, but certainly not on the level that I thought he was going to be because that guy, I mean, wow, incredibly talented. Other AEW news, backstage reports indicate there could have been some heat with the Hurt Syndicate, specifically MVP, having some opinions about Speedball Mike Bailey, and basically him not wanting to put Jet Speed over for the tag team championship. People debating like who the heck's going to win the tag team championship if it's not them. Who do you go to next? Who is the next tag team that could potentially take the belts off of the Hurt Syndicate? There was some conversation about FTR being that team, but you really want to see FTR in the whole like Cope and Christian reunion thing. Who else is left? You know what I mean? Like, you've got the Gates of Agony, Private Party, the Outrunners. There's a lot of teams there, but they've kind of blown through all those guys in short order. So there's not a lot of reason to put one of those guys over. So there's not a lot left unless they're going to craft a new team out of some talents. But at some point, you got to move Lashley out of the tag team and get him into the main scene because when they dropped when they dropped MJF from the group this past week, which to me was shocking and too fast. The other thing about that was MVP told MJF, I'm hoping you don't win your Triple B because if you do, Bobby Lashley will be targeting you, and he likes him, Clearly, Bobby Lashley has world championship aspirations in the future. I hope he gets them, to be perfectly honest with you. But we'll have to wait and see. Let's move into some of the independent conversation. Portland area independent show that was supposedly booked this past week, canceled because they booked somebody they never had any business booking. Currently blackballed from the industry, former superstar Joey Ryan, who at this point is about 45 years old. If you don't remember who Joey Ryan is, he's been out of wrestling for about 5 years. When the Speaking Out movement took place, there were, I want to say something like 17, 18, 20, some obnoxious number of accusations from several women about misconduct and whatnot. And in all transparency and to be fair, he's never been charged with anything. There's never been any reports. PW Insider was the one who broke this news, but even they have never really said that there was ever, let me think of a way to phrase this, any accountability for any of his past indiscretions. Doesn't mean they didn't happen, but there's basically an unspoken agreement across the independent wrestling scene that you don't book Joey Ryan. The promoter for the show was claiming that the reason that he was booking him is because all this other talent were unavailable. He was reasonably priced. Other local guys wanted to work with him, and he hadn't been in that location since 2014. He put out a statement that he had soberingly repented from the man he was in the past. Like, this booker was trying so hard to justify booking him, and it was not getting over. And a lot of backlash. The entire show ended up being canceled, which then it almost seemed like he was giving people attitude because the show was supposed to be a non-profit event, and they were going to send the proceeds to a different cause. And now the show's been canceled, so they won't be able to donate that money. It's almost like he was being bitter about it. But, despite the fact that Joey Ryan never faced criminal charges, the promotion's just, they've parted ways with him. They don't want anything to do with him. At one point, he was booked on a show, and say AEW talent was supposed to be on the show. Tony Khan let them know right away. He's like, if he wrestles, I'll pull every AEW star from that show. Nobody wants anything to do with the guy. So it was really shocking that this Portland wrestling event was booked, or that they booked him. And if you don't remember who Joey Ryan is, it may not be a bad thing. This is the guy who his whole gimmick was, he was, for lack of better terms, he was kind of like a Chippendale, would stick a lollipop in his trunks and like pull it out mid-match and shove it in other people's mouths. He'd wrestle women and men. He would do a disgusting move where he'd have people put their hand between his legs, and he would like almost hulk up and then do this like flip with his manhood. And it was ludicrous and absolutely ridiculous. There's videos online if you really care to see it. But when you find out what kind of scumbag he was in terms of the speaking out movement, it makes it so the move itself becomes even more disgusting. If you ever get a chance to watch the Stevie Richards podcast, he was even talking about his one and only interaction with the guy. He was booking a show, and he offered to have Stevie on the show and perform 3 times, but he didn't want to pay him. He wanted Stevie to be thankful that he was going to book him on the show. What a ridiculous statement. Stevie Richards done a whole lot more in the industry than Joey Ryan ever has, and here he thought he was doing him a favor. So just glad to see that nobody's booking the guy. And look, I'm not one of those people who doesn't think anybody can ever repent, but some things are too much to come back from. And it is a privilege to step foot in the ring and entertain the fans. And if you are that kind of person, I just don't think you have a place. I really don't. Go do something else with your life. Then again, I say that, and the guy went to work at Disney World until fans let Disney know who he was and what he had done in the past, and they fired him too. So maybe he's having a tough time doing anything with his life, but hopefully he gets himself together. I had heard he had gone to a lot of therapy and all kinds of stuff, so I wish him well. I just don't want to see him in the ring. And then we're going to end our last tidbit tonight. Former Ring of Honor World Champion Johnathan Gresham. Difficult conversation this week. He apparently suffered from 2 strokes this week. We have a quote here from him that he put on X. It says, 2 days ago, I woke up and couldn't walk or move the left side of my body. I couldn't see and could barely talk. It took me 30 minutes to dial 911, but I finally did. I woke up in the hospital, couldn't remember what happened. They told me they had done an MRI, and I had 2 strokes. He said, I've had a lot of tests run, but everything's come back clean. They're not sure what happened. The only thing they said was it could have been a possible complication from a bad case of COVID he had a couple weeks ago. They said we may never know the exact reason. Needless to say, and this is the part that shocks me, he says, I will be taking the next 2 to 4 weeks off from wrestling to recover and get cleared fully by my neurologist. 2 to 4 weeks after suffering 2 strokes. That's insane. If you don't know more about Johnathan Gresham, his wife is Jordynne Grace, current NXT superstar. She was at the hospital with him, and hopefully, she still was able to fly to the hospital and see him when he woke up, which is wonderful. He's, Gresham himself, 37 years old, former Ring of Honor World Champion. He left TNA Wrestling in 2025. He's now a free agent. He makes regular appearances on the indie scene. Incredible talent, a little on the shorter side of things, but incredible talent. It's one of those guys I think would do great on NXT if they'd ever give him an opportunity. Maybe not so easy with his age, but because WWE's like on this youth kick, but definitely somebody you should check out his videos if you can find him online. He is an incredibly talented young man. His mask that he wears to the ring is one of my favorite entry gear pieces ever. You got to check that out. That's all the time we have for this episode. Check back with us next episode. We'll run down the latest wrestling news and rumors. Special thanks, as always, go out to Suno AI for generating the music and sound effects I use in our show. Today's podcast sponsored in part by Beazle Games. Bring a new friend to family game night. It's easy with sketchy people. Showcase your artistic side in this game from Beazle Games by going to thegamecrafter.com and picking up your copy today. If you're looking for your next career move, you're considering college or university life, maybe you just need some formal training for your next career decision, go to our website at frolifeplanning.com for all your higher education needs, as Fro Life Educational Planning is for today, for tomorrow, and for life with Fro Life. I'm Fred Froelich, better known as Dr. Fro. I want to thank you for taking a few moments with us today. Until next time, take care, everybody. Have a great night.